What is going on, everybody, and welcome to Average Gamers. I am one half of the Average Gamers channel. My name is Brax. Today, we have a fun little guide for you, the Average Gamers BATTLEBIT Remastered Gun Guide. So, BATTLEBIT, new game, low poly graphics, really taken the gaming world by storm. If you don't know what it is, you should absolutely try it out. But if you clicked on this video, you probably know what it is, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse about it. We're going to jump right in. This video, we're going to go through the best attachments for every single gun. So as you can see on the screen here, I have put together a Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet detailing the best attachments. In my opinion, a lot of this is subjective for every single gun. A lot of them are the same. You can see AK-74, tactical barrel, vertical grip, tactical barrel for the M4, vertical grip. A lot of them are going to be that way, but there are different things that you do want to consider as you go through. And I do have reasons for all of this, but if you want to check out the guide, it is down in the description. Go hit the link. And if you like this video, leave us a like if you're grateful that I put this together, because it took like 4 hours. Anyway, now that we are in the loadout section of the shooting range, do want to talk about some things real quick. BATTLEBIT is somewhat unfortunately a play to win video game, meaning you have to play to unlock certain guns. You can see here the AK-15 unlocks at rank 15, the SCAR unlocks at rank 50, the AVGG rank 75, and so on. So you do have to play to unlock, and it is the same with the attachments. They unlock at certain levels. You have to use the gun to get to certain levels. And that is an unfortunate thing about it, but once you decide a gun that you like to use, and we'll talk about meta guns as well later on in the video, you can start grinding that gun to level it up. So, starting with the AK-74, the best attachments for this are going to be the tactical barrel, the vertical grip underbarrel, no side rail, the quick A magazine, and then optics for all of these are going to be pretty preferential. It's really whatever you like and can control. I prefer the Razor for pretty much everything. A nice 2.5x that's just fantastic, and I don't put a canted sight on. This, we chose these attachments, specifically the barrel and the underbarrel. Those are the two most important, to reduce the vertical recoil mainly, and then horizontal recoil a little bit. That's kind of the main thing you're fighting with the AK-74, and subsequently the M4 is going to be the same way, the tactical and the vert grip. You see kind of down here, if we don't put the vert grip on, we lose almost 0.3 vertical recoil. We would gain back 0.02 horizontal recoil. It's the same for the AK-74. And in my opinion, the savings of vertical recoil are beneficial enough for that tiny little bit that you lose in the horizontal. And then tactical is going to be the same way. It helps both vertical and horizontal. And all it's really going to do is put your accuracy down a little bit, but not bad. And your first shot kick is going to be a little more intense. But other than that, it's the same. Jumping down to the AK-15, we actually do get a little different here. So the AK-15, you're going to put the tactical barrel on, just like we've been doing, because, again, it helps with vertical and horizontal recoil a little bit. But for the underbarrel, you can see horizontal recoil in the AK-15 is significantly stronger than vertical recoil, so you want to really pull down that horizontal recoil, and the best grip to do that is going to be your BCM Gunfighter. That's going to pull it down 0.21. Not a ton, but it's as good as you can do, and then you can kind of see if we shoot it here. Oh, if I know how to do this. It pulls, it's a little bit of a wiggle, and that's just how the AK-15 is going to be. So if you want to use it, be prepared. Okay, jumping down to the SCAR, it's the same thing. You're going to go tactical and BCM Gunfighter. I'm not going through the magazines. You can check out the full guide if you want. These are just the attachments for the best recoil reduction, I guess, at least for now in the automatic rifle category. As we get into some different guns, the objective will change from like recoil reduction to more like damage in the case of like SMGs and stuff and LMGs. Moving down to the AVGG. The AVGG has almost no vertical and horizontal recoil. And so instead of the tactical, we're going to go with the heavy so that we can get extra damage out of it. Now, it does really hurt your first shot kick, so just be ready for that. For recoil, you need to practice a little bit. And then to counteract that a little bit, we're going to get the vertical grip to pull it back to somewhere more manageable levels. This way you get a little bit more damage, 32.55 instead of, I think 30 is the base damage. Or 31, so you get like 1.55 extra damage, which could be the difference between winning a fight and losing a fight. The SG550. So for the barrel, it's the same thing as the AUG. We're trying to up that damage because it does have pretty low damage at 27. We're going to put the heavy on to put us up to 28.35. And again, this does up the recoil and the first shot kick pretty badly. But it still has basically no vertical kick. Like compared to the other guns we've been looking at, this thing doesn't have any vert. So instead of the vert grip, we're going to put on the, where is it? Hera CQR front grip because it helps a little bit with the vertical and the horizontal recoil. You could switch that out. Whoops. You could switch that out if you're having trouble with the vertical recoil. You can switch it out for a vertical grip, or if you're having trouble with the horizontal recoil, you put the BCM Gunfighter on. It's really just preferential. The Hera is just the best of recoil reduction without too many disadvantages, because a lot of these grips will reduce the recoil even more, but like control and accuracy and other stuff like that just go out the window. So that's what you're going to want to put on for those two things. Well, let's move on to the FAMAS. All right, you're good, FAMAS. We are back to the tactical barrel, trying to reduce that vertical recoil because it is up a little higher than I'd like. And the underbarrel is also going to be the Hera CQR front. I don't know why I can't say that word. Pretty simple, nice and easy. Just trying to reduce that recoil because the FAMAS shoots really quickly, and so you don't need to really worry about damage. As long as you can hit him, you're going to kill him. All right, for the ACR, we want to up the damage a little bit because it has a pretty low fire rate of 700 compared to some of the other guns, especially when you're fighting like SMGs and stuff. And only 25 damage. So we're going to put the heavy back on and bump us up to 26.25 damage. And then we're going to throw the vertical grip on because 1.47 is just a little too high for me. I'm trying to keep most of these guns, if I can, below 1.2 for you guys. I've found that that's a pretty decent recoil number for you to learn. It's still going to be a lot if you aren't used to recoil, but you'll get there. I believe in you. Okay, G36, one of the best automatic rifles right now. We're going to throw the tactical on to reduce that recoil. And then we are also going to throw the vert grip. This thing has almost no recoil. It's freaking sick. Does have quite a hard first shot kick, so just be aware of that. Maybe aim for center mass on your first shot, and then you'll hit him in the head every other shot. And it has a lot of damage with a decent fire rate. G36 is great. If you can grind this one out, definitely do so. The HK 419, same thing. We're going to go tactical and we're going to go vert grip. Nice and easy. Let's move on. We do that for the same reasons as G36, so I won't keep talking about it. For the FAL, the fall, or whatever you want to call it, we're going to put the tactical on to reduce the recoil because this thing has just an absurd amount of horizontal recoil and more vertical recoil than I'd like. So tactical to reduce that as much as we can, and then your underbarrel is going to be your BCM Gunfighter to really try to pull down that horizontal recoil. It gets you to 1.3 vert, which is just above what I'd like, and 1.94 horizontal recoil, which is a lot. This thing is really bouncy from side to side. I've used it a little bit in the range. You can see I don't have any kills with it yet. I haven't used it in game. I've used it in the range, and it is very, very bouncy. So for this one, I would recommend, instead of using the Razor, like I do for most of them, use the hollow PK20. You could also use the red dot or anything like that. You just want like a 1x sight because a 2x is just too much. It's just so bouncy. Unless you're just a god at recoil reduction, in which case, knock yourself out. Go for it, you know? The FAL, you might be thinking now that we've talked about this, that you're just never going to use the FAL because the FAL, because it's just too bouncy and blah, blah, blah. But consider the damage output is 40 on a fire rate of 650, which is about standard for automatic rifles. But the 40 number is crazy. It's absurd. It is the highest DPS of any automatic rifle. The FAL does 430 damage per second if you hit every shot. as of recording this video, obviously in the future, once we're out of the beta, once we're in release, updates, this could all change. But as of right now, whatever today is, July 8th, this is the best gun to use in terms of just raw DPS, and it's not close. 430 DPS versus the G36, which is next at 375. For our last automatic rifle, let's jump down to the AK-5C. Now, for this one, we're getting a different barrel. We're going to use the SDN 6762. Now, this lowers your damage, but it gives you better velocity and better accuracy when we do this. Now, this is a controversial decision. You could just throw the tactical on here, get your damage back. You throw the heavy to get even more damage back, but it would really increase the first shot kick. The SDN is just kind of a nice all-around gun that's going to help you out a little bit. And then for our underbarrel rail, we're just going to throw the vert on there just to reduce that down to 1.12, so it's a little more manageable. And that is it for automatic rifles. So let's move on. Go down to DMRs. All right. The Mark 20 is our first DMR. For the barrel, you're going to want the long barrel. Not the suppressor long, but the long barrel. The reason we do this is the damage increase is really good. Now, it does hit vert recoil quite a bit. It's going to up it from 3.3 to 3.96. So you're not going to be spamming this thing unless you're really good at the game. But just in case you want to spam it a little bit, we're going to put the vert grip on it, which is going to lower us down to 3.17. Still triple what we're trying to hit for our automatic rifles, but it is going to help you click a little faster when you're trying to hit these people, because it does have 47 damage compared to the automatic rifles of like 25 or whatever. So as long as you can hit them, you're going to be good. We're going to change a few things here too. For this, we're going to put a side rail, and I like to use the searchlight. You could use tac flash, you could use the regular flashlight, you can use rangefinder, I guess, if you're feeling spicy. Searchlight, specifically if you're in a night map. If you're not in a night map, don't worry about this thing. You don't need it. But the searchlight is great for just illuminating huge areas, and they can't see you because it's so bright. It's really useful at nighttime where you just blind people. They will just start shooting in your general direction, so be aware of that. But you'll be able to see them because you can't use your night vision with a scope, which is annoying. And speaking of scopes, my preferred scope is going to be the 6X for the Mark 20. If you're doing 32 by 32 on these really small maps, obviously go with like the ACOG or something, a 4X. But I prefer the 6X because I play 64 and 127. And we're also going to put a top sight on. Now, if you're feeling really spicy, you can do the FU top because that's just hilarious. I prefer, I think it's the C red dot, right? Yeah. I like the C red dot as my top sight. This is for you're holed up in a building and somebody's coming behind you. You can quickly switch to that. I think it's way better than a canted, because on a canted, your scope is covering half your screen, and that's just no good. So I put a top sight on, use scroll wheel to switch. Nice and easy. Okay. The M110, very similar to the MK20. In fact, I'm looking at it. It's almost the exact same. So for all of these guns so far, we've been putting the Quick A magazine on, and that's why I said I wasn't going to talk about it. But for this one, you don't have a Quick A available, and so I picked the extended. Now, if you don't want to, then don't. That's totally fine if you're having trouble controlling your shot with this thing. This is just nice. Changes you from 12 to 16 bullets. Could mean the difference between winning and losing, but you can see you take a major hit in vertical recoil, horizontal recoil, control, ADS time, running speed, reload time, and draw speed. So if you want to leave this off because it's only 4 shots, that's completely fine. I do like it though. Again, your reload time goes from 3.3 seconds all the way to almost 4 seconds. So, you know, it's up to you. MK14, my PUBG baby. Love this gun. Same thing. Long barrel, vert grip, and then our magazine is also going to be the extended. Oh wait, no, that should be the quick. Our magazine is going to be the quick. I'm good at this. The quick we do specifically because of reload time. Normal reload time is almost 4 seconds. Throw the quick on there, keeps the same amount of bullets, and it just lowers that for a tiny bit of vertical recoil and horizontal recoil and control. It's really not that big a deal. You can full auto the MK14 if you'd like. I don't, but you can if you like. And so maybe you want to leave the Quick A off if you're having trouble controlling your spray. But same thing. I have the ACOG on here. ACOG 6X, whatever, top sight as your red dot top or C red dot. And then finally, the best DMR currently in the game is the SVD. We're going to do the same thing. These are all, DMRs are all pretty much the same right now. Long barrel, vert grip, searchlight. Don't forget the searchlight if you're in a night mode map. And the red dot top. So you can't put a mag on the SVD, which is why we're not talking about it. So yeah, anyway, let's move on to SMGs. Okay, starting with our MP7. The barrel we're going to throw on this bad boy is the SDN 6762. It lowers damage a little bit, but SMG shoots so fast that it really doesn't matter, in my opinion. Again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you disagree entirely, but I don't care. I kind of care. Don't be mean to me. The underbarrel is going to be a grip we haven't used before, the stable grip. Pick the stable because it lowers first shot kick and a little bit of recoil. First shot kick, I think, is important for SMGs. I don't think it's that important for assault rifles or automatic rifles in this game. I think you should just get good, scrub. But for SMGs, I do think it's a little important because they shoot so fast, you can very quickly lose control of your spray. And so you want to lower that first shot kick a little bit. So we're going to go with the stable grip. And then the only other thing I'm going to put on this thing is my preferred sight, which is the hollow PK20. You could put the Razor on it, which is kind of goofy looking, but I don't love 2.5x spraying on SMGs, so I just have the hollow. Makes it a little better. Okay, the UMP45 is currently the worst gun in the game, but if you're trying to level it up, or not worst gun in the game, but worst SMG in the game, but if you're trying to level it up, we're going to do the same thing. SDN and the stable grip. It has very, very little recoil, so if you really struggle with recoil, you could consider the UMP. You're just going to have to hit them a lot of times because it's very low damage, very low fire rate compared to other SMGs, and the fall off is pretty bad. 200 meters, you're at 6.1 damage, which is horrific, actually. So, use at your own risk, but we do have a mag here. We're going to throw the quick aim mag on it because this thing has no recoil. It really doesn't matter, but it's really going to help your reload time. So consider the quick aim. Moving on to the PP2000 for the barrel. I prefer to leave the barrel off on this one. You can only use a suppressor, and you have to pick. Do you want the suppressor long, which just destroys your vert recoil and your first shot kick for the benefit of sound spread and muzzle flash, which who cares? A little bit of accuracy, I guess, but not enough to make it worth it. Or the suppressor short, which just destroys your recoil in general and your kick for sound spread and muzzle flash. So I just leave it off. I don't think it's worth it. I'm going to throw my hollow PK 120 on there, and then my extended mag on there, which really increases reload time. But you get, I mean, look at this thing. This is ridiculous. You get 60 bullets. Shoots really fast, so you do go through them pretty quick. But after all that, I was still only at 30. You better have 2 people with that kind of spray. It's not that hard. Your reload time is really long, though, so use at your own risk. For the PP19, we're going to throw the SDN barrel on, we're all familiar with, and you guessed it, the stable grip. And then for our mag, we're going to do the quick A. Yeah. Looking at my notes because I thought they were wrong for a second, but they weren't. It's like it's the smaller version of an AK, basically, and I know gun nerds in the comments are going to be like, no, it's not, blah, blah, blah. Like, it looks like an AK, I'm going to call it an AK. It's, Soviet, Russian built. It's a fun little gun, nice and strong, but it doesn't hold a candle to the current king, the Kriss Vector. It doesn't hold a candle. Okay, for the barrel, we're going to do the SDN, just for a little bit of reduction. The damage reduction doesn't matter. It's still the king of SMGs. It does the highest DPS almost in the game, other than the FAL. Or wait, no, this does the highest DPS in the game. Let me fact check that real quick. I believe I'm correct, though. Yeah, it's Kriss Vector is currently 480 damage per second. Oh, okay, it's not. The SCORPIONEVO and the Carbine we'll talk about in a little bit is the best. So yeah, I was right. Kriss Vector is the second strongest gun in the game in terms of DPS. It's really good. You'll see people running it. If you're dying in like a nanosecond, it's probably because of the Vector. So just be aware of that. Anyway, threw the SDN on. We're going to throw the stable grip on. And then we're going to do something controversial. Magazine is the drum mag, the drum A. So really increases your reload time, hurts your recoil, blah, blah, blah. But you get 60 bullets instead of 40. You could leave this off if you want, or you could do the quick if you want. I like the drum though, because I just spray people down and recoil doesn't really bother me. I came from PUBG where the recoil is super punishing, and so if you're having trouble with recoil, drop the drum. It's only 20 extra bullets. But for me and all my recoil babes out there, hit the drum mag. It's fun. And one of my favorite guns in existence. I do love me an MP5. Same thing. SDN. Stable grip. Can't put a mag. Oh, you can't put a mag on this guy. What's the mag? Quick aim. Right. Never go with short. Like, what are you thinking? 20 bullets for a little bit of recoil? Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Quick aim. Throw the quick A. Get a little bit of reload time back. And call yourself good. Throw a sight on there. Whatever sight you want. I use the Holo PK20. I've said that a billion times now. I'm going to stop talking about it. Okay, we're going to move on to the PDWs. The Honey Badger. Never heard of this gun. It's kind of weird. Can't put a barrel on it, so we don't have to worry about that. For the underbarrel grip, you can see horizontal recoil, pretty strong. You already know the BCM Gunfighter is what we're going to go with there. I like the Razor on this bad boy and all the guns I tested out. I spent about, I don't know, 6 hours last night testing out all of these attachments, going through a bunch of different variations per like gun type because they're all pretty much the same. And these are the ones that I decided on. If you have something else to say, leave in the comments. I'd be happy to hear your thoughts. Maybe I'll make a new video of this someday. Maybe I missed something. You know, it was pretty late when I did this. For the mag, quick A, you already know it's only 20 bullets and it shoots really fast. So you do have to be careful of that. You can do extended if you want, but I mean, it's, you know, it's 8 extra bullets. It's 4 extra bullets when you just lose 4 bullets on the quick. So it doesn't have a lot of ammo regardless. So that's why. So I went with that. The Grazie. Thank you, Wacky Jackie. Miss you, buddy. I haven't watched you in forever. I know you're still alive. You're fine. Anyway, we're going to go with the VAMB 762 barrel on this bad boy just for the velocity because this thing shoots super slow. The 390 velocity is not ideal and it helps with vert just a little bit. VAMB, maybe I just did this just to be different a little bit. And the Razor sight. And that's all you're going to put on because this thing can't take a barrel, can't take a mag. You definitely don't want a side rail. If you're one of those people with lasers that don't do anything right now except hurt your control and your draw speed for, I'm assuming it like helps with hip fire, stop it. Just stop it.
Stop it. Get some help.
P90, one of my favorite guns. My first airsoft gun. We're going to throw the flash hider on this bad boy. And the reason is there is no vertical recoil on the P90. Like, it's 0.8. And so this is going to bump it up to like 1.12 or something like that. But it's going to really bring your horizontal recoil down, improve your accuracy a little bit too, and help your muzzle flash scale because it's a flash hider. So it's really good. So now you have exact vert and horizontal at 1.12, which is nice. And you're also going to throw the quick A on this bad boy, which ups your thing a little bit, but you know, you'll be fine. Like I said, I believe in you. And then as always, for this guy, I like the Razor. Is this technically an SMG? And so maybe you don't want a 2X, but I don't know. When I was testing it out, I really liked it. The AS Val in our carbines. This thing's garbage. Don't even use this thing. But if you do use this thing, your underbarrel is going to be the BCM Gunfighter just to get that horizontal recoil down because it is pretty bouncy. This is a pretty bouncy gun, to be honest, people. And the magazine, only 20 bullets, and it shoots really fast. We're going to put the extended on this bad boy. You could put the quick, I guess, lower reload time. I like the extended when I was testing it out just because it's a little easier. It does take a long time to reload. For the main sight, this gun, it's a carbine, right? It's not a DMR. It's not an assault rifle, somewhere in between. This is the one, though, that I kind of want to put an ACOG on. When I was testing it out, I could barely control it at distance, so maybe it's better for like tapping. And then you just throw the top sight on there of the red dot or the red C or the delta sight or whatever your personal preference is. You throw this bad boy on there just to help out for the closer range battles, and that's what you're going to kind of keep it on for a lot of these battles. Anyway, but don't even use this gun because there is a king, and it's only 45 ranks. Yeah, it's a while to unlock it. The Scorpion, DPS-wise, is the best gun in the game. You can't put a barrel on it. If you could, I would do the heavy because get that extra damage and just delete people. But for the underbarrel, we're going to go with a vert grip because you can see this thing has no horizontal recoil, but holy does it have a lot of vertical recoil. So put the vert grip on. You already know 2.16. That is quite a bit of vertical recoil. And so you may want to use the hollow if you're feeling spicy. You can use the razor or whatever else you want. This massive thing if you want to really try. But this guy, he's crazy. Can't put a mag on him or else I would go with the extended. The reload time, same as the Val. Pretty quick though, a little faster than the Val, I think by about half a second. 35 bullets that it just flies through because it shoots 1,200 rounds per minute, which is a big number. The only other gun that does that in this game is the Kriss Vector, which doesn't have as good a damage. So make sure you use the Scorpion the moment you get it because this gun is absurd. All right, for all my support girlies out there, the L86A1. Now I was playing around with some attachments here, so ignore those for a second. The barrel we're going to put on this guy is a new one, the NT4556. Now, this is going to help your recoil just barely and your velocity a little bit. Right, it's probably confusing because it says negative. Let's do that. Helps your vertical and your horizontal recoil and your velocity. Lowers your accuracy just barely. Who really cares? So we're going to put that bad boy just for the velocity and a little bit of recoil help. And then we're going to put the stable grip on to help with recoil reduction because this thing doesn't have a ton of recoil. It's not that big a deal. ADS speed, 0.04, running speed, 0.01. It's worth it. Our stable grip. And then we're going to put, I already have it on, the drum mag. Takes you from 30 bolts to 55. And then our sight is going to be the razor. For the LSGs, you're kind of supporting fire. You're not generally in close quarters combat, or if you are, you probably shouldn't be using an LSG or an LMG. You can though, but I prefer, you know, like a 2x, 2.5x, something like that. You can also put your preferred 1x on it if you'd like. For the MG36, it's very similar. I lied. It's not similar at all. What am I talking about? You're going to put the tactical on this bad boy to help with that vertical recoil reduction. And then you're going to switch to the stable grip. No, the vertical grip. I keep looking down too far. That's what's wrong because I'm looking at like the next things to come. You're going to put the vertical grip on to really just help pull that vert recoil down. Gets us down to 1.28, which is kind of acceptable levels for where we want to be. This bad boy doesn't, or it does have a magazine. You can put the drum, but it crushes your reload time. Takes it from 4.7 all the way to 6.3, which I personally don't think is worth it. And it also destroys your recoil. It's a lot for 20 extra bullets. And so I would recommend just sticking with the 40. It doesn't shoot very fast, so you're not going to be running out of ammo very quickly. Okay, moving on to the LMGs, the M249er. Ah, I missed the days when this was in the PUBG crates. Put in the description if you, or leave it in the comments if you remember the M249 in the crate days. Those are some good days. People wouldn't take it because they were afraid of it. Here's what we're going to do for the M249. It doesn't have a lot of recoil. 1.1 on vert, 1.3 on horizontal. So we're going to put the heavy on this bad boy. We're going to take the hit to recoil and kick for the extra 1.5 damage to really up this guy and really make it strong. That does increase the horizontal recoil a little more than I would like. And so we're going to throw the BCM gunfighter on it just to counteract that a little bit, bring it down to acceptable levels. I prefer the razor, as always, on this bad boy. Oh, listen to her purr. Beautiful. You should use this LMG. This is the good one. I like this one. And it unlocks at rank 20, even better. But if you're weird and want to use the Ultimax 100, you can. It's fine. I'll forgive you eventually. You're going to put the NT4556 on, which, if you remember, deep cut is where we were for the L86A1. The benefits for this guy, refreshing, is gives you better velocity, a little bit better recoil with the downside of accuracy, I guess. Not that big a deal, though. It really isn't. Get over it. Vert grip on this bad boy, just to pull the vert down, because it doesn't have any horizontal recoil, but it does have a decent amount, 1.5 almost. And so we just pull that down to 1.2, 1.18. Throw a razor on that bad boy. Obviously, the M249 and the Ultimax 100 do not take mags. They just get 100 bullets. So you don't have to worry about it, which is really nice. And for our snipers, our sniper boys, all the snipers take the exact same attachments. There's no variation on which one's good because all you're trying to do is up damage. That's what you want to do. Same with pretty much every other game where you can customize weapons, which is pretty much just Warzone, I guess. All you're trying to do for snipers is upgrade the damage. So we're going to show you on the M200 because I believe, let me refresh real quick, is the best sniper in the game damage-wise currently. Okay. For the barrel, you're going to put the Ranger on because it +7. It's a 10% increase to damage, and it's going to hurt your horizontal or your vertical recoil. It's going to hurt your horizontal recoil. It's going to really double your first shot kick, but it's going to increase your velocity by 10%. It's going to make it really loud, and the muzzle flash will be really bright, and who cares about that? But it's the damage increase is 10%, which is crazy good. That's what you're going to do. The underbarrel, you're going to throw the stubby grip on, something we haven't used before. It's going to help a little bit with the recoil. Honestly, we could actually do the vert. Maybe we should do the vert instead. We're going to do the vert instead because if you can try to keep seeing what you're looking at, I guess that's going to be nice, but that's pretty much the only reason. It's really not that big a deal. So we're going to go with the vert grip. If you're on a night map, I prefer the searchlight. I prefer the searchlight. It's optional. Take it off if you don't like it. Take it off if you're in the daytime for sure, because you're spinning in circles, you're blinding your teammates, and it pisses me off. So don't do that, you know. The mag, short A, is not worth it. Don't use it. So we just stick with none. For the main sight, you're going to want to use a long-range scope. I guess if you're sniping on the tiny domination 32 by 32 maps, you could use a smaller one. But you're using a sniper, dude. Go big, go home, you know? 20x. I haven't used the 20x yet. I should try it out. I do like 15x. 8x is my favorite. 6x is acceptable. Whatever you want. But top sight, you might as well throw something on, or you could even throw a canted on this guy. This one doesn't matter as much. So, all right, everybody. That has been the video. Thank you so much for watching the Average Gamers YouTube channel, or TikTok, if you saw us on TikTok. Appreciate you coming over here to watch the full video. If you have any comments, thoughts, questions, concerns, yada, 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 put them in the comments. I want you to roast me. Tell me how bad my picks are. They're not. They're way better than your picks, to be honest. But, you know, it's whatever. It is personal preference, though. Always remember that. The gun that feels the best in your hand is the one that you're going to be able to get kills with. If you're not sure how a gun's going to behave, you're not sure how a gun's going to act, you're not going to get any shots off with it that connect. And so just be cognizant of that fact that this is just a starting point, a jumping off point for you to try stuff out. You are going to have to grind for them, though. But I'll just leave you with that and the final thought of use the Scorpion or the Vector, because holy God, they're so good. Yeah, that's been it. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace.